Welcome all. We finally did it. We started a podcast. Now, if you're watching on YouTube or you are even at the YouTube premiere right now, first of all, thank you. And second of all, then this episode will be put up on Spotify at Reporting from the Fairy Realm with your host, Kody Odle. That is the entire title. I just decided to put the full thing in there. If you're listening on Spotify, first of all, thank you again. Then if you would like to watch it later, for whatever reason, head on over to RFTFR with your host, Kody Odle, on YouTube. That's RFTFR with your host, Kody Odle, on YouTube. Now let's get into the sponsor of today's episode. The sponsor of today's episode is air. Y'all know I love air. Air is really keeps my heart beating, keeps my lungs. I don't know what I'd do without air, so that is why I have decided to partner up with air today. And, yeah, anyway, so that was a fake sponsorship, by the way. There's no company called, well, at least that I know of, called Air. So just, that was a joke. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to talk about today was Jesus Christ. We started a podcast, finally. After so long of you guys being like, I've asked you guys if you wanted to see a podcast, and you've all shown a lot of liking to that idea, and I've just never really done it because I didn't really have the right equipment or really anything. Well, I had the right equipment, I just didn't know I had the right equipment, if that makes sense. So yeah, a lot of people were asking for this, and I finally decided to do it because of the next topic of this episode, which is Brittany Broski and Jade Beeson. Bro, Broski Report, ungodly. Literally, that's kind of what, Broski Report, first of all, Broski Report, I tried to put in the title of the podcast, specifically the word report. That's why I made the podcast called Reporting from the Fairy Realm. Because I just like the idea of that. And oh my god, Brittany Broski is amazing. Broski Nation, I love you guys. I'm part of it, just so you know. And the Broski Report is my favorite podcast. Now on to Jade Beeson. Oh my god. Okay, so Jade Beeson, so many good tips. That's pretty much what I use her for, is like tips and stuff with creating, because I don't know English. Yeah, she is amazing. Go subscribe to her and her podcast. Hold on. Let me scroll to it. Is called the Creator Project. Creator Project on YouTube and probably Spotify, I would guess. Hold on. Yes, Spotify. And yeah, it's really amazing. I love the podcast. I love her channel. It's amazing. Very good quality videos, unlike this, and yeah, it's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. Okay, next topic, because next topic is I want to talk about what we will do in this podcast, and this kind of goes back to my inspiration. So with the Broski Report, if you're familiar with it, Brittany pretty much just rambles the entire like she has specific topics to talk about, but she kind of just rambles past them, and which I do a lot because I have ADHD. So I kind of decided to incorporate that into this podcast. So there will be a lot of rambling, a lot of but a lot of me trying to be funny and not being funny. And yeah. Also sometimes, like very rarely, like cuz I'm always trying to be a positive person, I will speak out against certain or speak out for certain, either for like drama or for specific things, like I will speak out towards wars. I will speak, like, just I will, yeah. I had a whole script. I have a whole script set up, but I didn't. It's just topics. It's not really like a script. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to do in this podcast. I just want to ramble. I want to be able to be myself. I want you guys to be able to enjoy me being myself. And if you guys like this microphone, by the way, it's like LED and it changes colors and it's amazing. It's the Fifine, hold on. Fifine, spelled Fifine, and it is the A6V, I believe. Hold on. A6V fine microphone. I believe it's the A6V. Yeah. A6V microphone. There are also newer versions that are super cheap. This is not necessarily an old one, but it was super trendy like 2 or 3 years ago. But it's a really good podcast mic. If you're on a budget, it's only like $27 on like Amazon. Well, at least for me, on their official website, it might be like, I think it was like $35. But yeah, that was not something I was planning on talking about today, but I was just like, hey, okay, this is kind of the end of this episode. I just wanted to introduce myself. I wanted to introduce the podcast. I wanted to talk about my inspiration, etc., etc. So, again, if you're watching on YouTube right now, my Spotify, if you would like to go to it, is The Fairy Realm with your host, Kody Odle. The Fairy Realm with your host, Kody Odle. And if you're if you're listening on Spotify, then if you would like to watch the video later, my podcast YouTube channel is RFTFR with your host, Kody Odle. RFTFR with your host, Kody Odle on YouTube. And also, go check out my main channel, my main YouTube channel. It's in the link in my description. But if you don't want to go there, it's Kody, and then O, just like the letter O, and then ASMR, like ASMR. Because sometimes I do ASMR. And yeah, those are pretty much all my socials. My email, if you want to email me for some reason, is in the link in both of my descriptions for both of my channels. I might, if I can figure out how to, I might put it in my Spotify podcast. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast. It means so much to me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.